Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Here's the latest on Debby. Debby is a unique system where we're not really too concerned about the track as much as we are worried about the impacts. And I'll talk more about that. And I've had people comment like, oh, it looks like it's going to miss us or go here, here. I would really not focus on where the center is because the worst weather's not where the center is. It's going to be several hundred miles away from the center. So one of the things we're going to talk about is the impacts of Debby. Now, the center did make a big deal in Florida because it was a hurricane when it made landfall, but now it transitions to more of a giant rainmaker. The circulation is going to help supply the moisture, but one of the things you got to remember about low pressure systems, they spin counterclockwise. So all of this moisture starts getting pulled in like this. Now, we have a unique situation in the Carolinas. We don't have a stalled front per se, but there's this trough and there's going to be high pressure to the north. So high pressure is going to be up in here. The low pressure of what is Debby, remnants, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be called Debby. Doesn't matter what category it has. Its function, its mode of transport of precipitation and moisture is going to be like this. Well, the high pressure spins clockwise, so it does this. And you get the idea. All of this moisture is going to be funneled into the Carolinas against this trough, against the mountains. Though the mountains are going to probably escape the worst of this, it's really going to be areas along and east of I-77 that are going to see the heaviest rain. So I could wait for the updated track, but the track honestly doesn't matter all that much because we know it's going to stall somewhere over the Carolinas. Now, if it shifts to the east, that's better for the Western Carolinas. If it shifts to the west, that's bad because that'll bring the moisture. Because we're going to see a very sharp gradient. I'll quickly show you what we call the super ensemble. This is a great way to look at model data, by the way. It shows literally every single model kind of put together. I'm going to shrink this so it's a little bit easier to see. I'll move my head down there. So you get the idea. Anything in confidence-wise in red is high confidence. So we know it's going to be somewhere down in here. There is some uncertainty. It could be far west is Charlotte or off coast. So there's still a pretty big spread here. And that's why it probably doesn't matter as much because if it meanders anywhere in here, everybody's going to see rain. So there's pretty good confidence it's going to stall. I mean, that's the only thing I can really tell you. So what's going to happen as this pushes north, we're going to see, you see this band of precipitation kind of over my head here. I'm going to move my head out of the way. You notice we've got a bunch of clouds here, okay? As this moves inland and stalls, I expect this area to start filling in with moisture and even back to the west. But there's going to be a very sharp gradient from a whole bunch of rain to almost no rain. And that's really what we should be tracking. Is not where the center is. Where is this back edge going to form? You can even see right now as I'm doing this on Monday, we're getting some scattered showers developing up here. And this is something we'll watch the next couple of days as more showers develop ahead of this and spread out. Because the combination of that high to the north and the low to the south, it will produce light rain. The good news is the rain early this week, probably not going to be that bad for most of our area. Now, if you're in Charleston or the low country of South Carolina, that's where we're really, really concerned about heavy, heavy precipitation. Let me show you a couple products here to kind of illustrate this point. This is our flash flood guidance over the next 5 days. So you don't often see such a big area in the extreme or high. That's significant. That's a 70% chance of flooding, okay? That is super high confidence. The red is a 40% chance, which does come into the Charlotte area close. And then the 15% chance of flash flooding goes just about Gastonia down to the upstate. And then you see the minimal or 5% risk west. So there's a pretty sharp gradient. And as this system moves north, I think you're going to see that sharp gradient kind of set up. So this puts most of our area in the slight to moderate risk for flash flooding. That's definitely significant. How much rain are we talking about? Well, let me show you real quickly. All right, we can look at the 7-day rainfall forecast. We'll go hour by hour here. We'll try to do hour by hour, go all the way through this to kind of show you how this builds over time. You see the rain building north. By the time we get to Thursday morning, that's where the Charlotte area starts to see a huge ramp up in heavy rain. And then as we go into the weekend, so basically for our area, I did a graphic earlier that shows Thursday through Saturday might be the worst for our area. We'll go 7 days in the future. So a lot of folks, they go 7 days. Well, this is spread out over 7 days. Folks, this is 6 to 20 inches of rain. That's half a year's worth of rain in 7 days or less. And some of this will fall in a single day. I think it's really hard for people to grasp some of these totals because you just don't. What does that mean, right? What is 6 inches? People think of snow. Six inches of snow means 6 inches of snow on the ground. That's not what rain is. That's 6 inches, but it runs off, and 6 inches becomes 12, 20, 30, because it runs off and accumulates into big flash flooding. So low areas, that 6 inches spread over a whole area ends up being several feet of water. So that's where you get into some big issues. So you could see the tight gradient here. And let me pause this real quickly. So let's look closely at this just to kind of illustrate the tight gradient we're going to see. You could see the areas basically around Charlotte around 6, 7 inches, maybe 5 inches, depending where you are. But as you get into like Anson, Stanley, or really Anson, Richmond, Chesterfield County, maybe 10 inches of rain. And then down here, you're talking 20, 30 inches of rain. But these totals, trust me, anybody in here, if we see these totals, we're going to have massive flooding. Now, good news for the mountains. A lot of folks ask me, I'm not going to say you're totally out of the woods yet, but I'm pretty confident we're going to see little to no flooding there because the rain is lighter and spread out. It's really east of I-77. So when we start looking at this, let me put that right there. I'm going to grab my cursor here. I really think I-77 to I-85 and east. That's where our threat is right now. Now, this is something to pay attention to. Could this shift west? Sure. Could it shift east? Yes. So, but right now, that's kind of the area that I'm watching for the worst weather. As far as timing is concerned, this is real easy. So here's today through tomorrow. Notice most of the heavy rains down near Savannah, Brunswick, St. Simons down in Georgia. Here's tomorrow, okay, Tuesday to Wednesday. So not much in our area. Thursday, things start ramping up. Thursday, then Friday. So this is Thursday to Friday. So Thursday to Friday, you see a pretty significant jump in totals. Then Friday to Saturday, another big jump. And then Saturday to Sunday, bigger jump. So that's why I said, Thursday to Saturday, Thursday, Sunday could be the worst for our area. And then up into Virginia, Eastern North Carolina, it's probably going to be the same time frame, but probably Thursday to Sunday. So that's looking at the significant total. So that's why I don't want to get super focused on steering currents, all that stuff. I really want to focus on these impacts. This will be significant flooding in this parts. Doesn't mean everybody is going to see flooding, but based on this timing right now, this is today through tomorrow morning. This is Tuesday through Wednesday morning. This is Wednesday through Thursday morning. And then Thursday to Friday, you see the big ramp up, at least for the Piedmont of North Carolina, Central, Eastern, and then Friday, Saturday, and then Saturday to Sunday. So pretty significant totals. And then there's the 7-day totals. There will be slight changes in this. This is a tight gradient. I mean, some areas go 4, 6, 10 across our viewing area. So Hickory, 4 inches, 6 in Charlotte, 10 in Chesterfield. That's a pretty broad swath and a tight gradient. So stay tuned for updates. There will be plenty of them. I will be putting out more detailed impact and timing graphics. The good news in our area, and I'm talking about Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro, even Columbia, most of North Carolina, today and tomorrow is kind of the days to prepare for flooding. As we get into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's when it ramps up. As far as wind, not much wind. It's going to be breezy, folks, but wind is not going to be the issue. Tornado risk is very low as well. So don't focus on those. Those could have some minor impacts, but 70 to 80% of us will be impacted by flooding rains or potential flooding rains. 1% will you be impacted by wind or tornadoes. So focus on the bigger impacts. Those small impacts aren't going to be as big a deal. Of course, we'll talk about them, but right now, flooding is what you should be on the top of everybody's mind.